305, donde suben los campeones. We're here with Edir Bélico Terry. First of all, thank you so much for doing our show and our podcast. You've been in the game as a martial artist, as a teacher, as a competitor. You're known. I appreciate when the people that are known in 305 Fights and they're doing things and are going to be doing things, they take the time to communicate with the local people from South Florida and talk to them about this wonderful thing that we enjoy, the combat sports and the martial arts. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Very well.
First of all and foremost, because I just found out today, because we are in affiliate and a team member, American Top Team Aventura, North Miami Beach. So don't miss our 305 Fights #9 event, September 26th. The master instructor, head instructor and owner here is from Venezuela. And actually, we call him Venezuela. And I found out that you're from Venezuela also.
I'm also from Venezuela.
Also, so tell us a little bit about you as the person. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Venezuela, half Peruvian because of my dad. My dad actually was born and raised in Peru, then he moved to Venezuela. That's basically how I became. I was raised and born in Venezuela.
Awesome. And that, I think that's a special and unique thing about the 305 is that, for example, I'm Cuban, Italian. My partner, she's from Colombia. We have friends from Venezuela. We had today people from Venezuela, Guatemala. 305 is Central South America, the Caribbean. And I think that's what gives it the energy. I think it's what gives it this specialness. And it's really good for the industry and the sport because they see this melting pot becoming champions and involved in martial arts. Tell us something else about you. What are your hobbies? What are you into?
Well, normally, as you guys already know, I'm a coach.
Yes.
I'm a professional fighter.
Yes.
I used to manage my own team. Right now, I'm actually working on other things on the side. When I'm not fighting, I'm actually doing like graphic designs. I have my own company for clothing. I have my other program, which is something similar to what you guys doing, which is my own blog, CTW.
Okay, what's the information of your blog?
CTW, which is Climbing the World. That's on YouTube.
Excellent.
YouTube channel.
What is your social media handle?
For social media, we have Instagram, Bélico MMA, Facebook, same thing, Bélico MMA, Twitter, Bélico MMA.
Awesome. So this is important because this is what we want to do. In 305 Fights, I was telling him that we have a platform that we can support each other, promote each other, all the martial arts school, all the instructors, beyond the politics, all the small businesses. That's another thing that there's a lot of things I want to get into that I really enjoy about you. Number one is you're an entrepreneur. I'm always seeing that, I'm an entrepreneur. We're trying to, and we're promoting that. In fact, earlier I was talking that the original name of hip hop, hip is to be on the leading edge, hop is to, its motion is actually, the original hip hoppers were entrepreneurs. And that's what that's what that means. As a martial artist, you said it, you're an instructor and martial artist. I always go on your social media and I see you always have, your last quote was from Confucius and you always have philosophical quotes, and I love that you bring that philosophy, the respect and honor to the martial arts. That's really good. Talk about a little bit of that. Why do you think that's important?
I believe this is important. Well, number one, I don't know if you guys know, I come from a background, from karate background.
Okay.
My first sensei, it was very old school, Cuban old school karate. And the way that he brought the mentality to me was more like a Japanese, because the way that he learned from an old school Japanese that came to his country and taught them how to do karate the proper way. One thing that he learned about that, it was the tradition, the way how you approach yourself as a person. Not only when you get in the mats, they would teach you how to kick, how to punch, and do all the stuff, but his way was more like a mind game. Like, you are a karate guy when you get in, you also still a karate guy when you get out. You're a karate guy when you're with your friends, you're a karate guy when you're with your family. What do you mean by that? Meaning it's the way how you think, how you approach the situation.
Yes.
So it's the owner that you always embrace. You're a martial artist in your mind, whatever you are.
I noticed that you're promoting that, and we want to promote that also. And that's like the samurai code, the Bushido, the Wu Dao in Chinese. And that's very important. I think that's what makes it a martial art. And in combat sports, like mixed martial arts, there is the word martial arts. You mentioned something I want to get a little more into, that I'm curious also, and I'm sure everybody's curious, for those that don't know it already, is your martial arts background. You said you had a karate instructor, but I've seen you teach class, and I'll tell you, and anybody that knows me, I'm straight up. I enjoyed you teaching classes because I saw what I would call complete mixed martial arts. I see a combination of good striking, good wrestling, good locking, not limiting himself. I enjoyed that with a good methodology. What background in martial arts led you to that type of?
That type of style? Okay, so I started just like I told you in karate. I remember when I decided to do that switch, it was about 4 years later. That's when I realized about the UFC. I didn't know nothing about the UFC. I didn't know what was mixed martial arts. So I decided to open my mind more and kind of like explore different angles. And the one thing that I noticed about the karate was kind of limited when it comes to the ground. They taught me how to do some sweeps, some submissions, but they're not focused on that 100%.
Correct.
So I went to another school and decided to expand my knowledge when it comes to that, which is a freestyle and freestyle fighting. And that's basically where I became I put everything together with the karate, Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, freestyle wrestling, Greco wrestling, judo, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yes, yes.
And put everything together.
Yeah. Another thing that I like is even when you do your grappling, I saw it's not because to me martial arts is not pursuit of limitation, but research of possibilities.
Yep.
And I see that even in your grappling, not like you mentioned a lot of grappling system, and I see all that together, not just this system or that system. As a martial arts teacher, an instructor, a coach, what can you advise the young up-and-coming amateurs and professionals technically first to focus on and work on?
The best advice that I can give it to the youngsters that now these days, I believe they have to look for a mentor. There's a lot of lacking on mentors when it comes to coaching. Like coaching, there's a lot of coaches out there, but a mentor that it could be a coach is definitely that's the number one. Like to me personally, that would be the number one thing. If you're a youngster, you're about to start in this sport, it's definitely something that you want to have. A guy that has a vision and understand the vision for the good and the bad and how to take you there quicker.
Yeah. You said that. I'm really like a martial arts student, and I just a researcher. And I was studying, for example, in boxing, Vasyl Lomachenko. He trains with his father.
Oh, really?
Mayweather's uncle and his brother and his father. I was seeing Mexican boxers. I forgot the name right now. He's got 3 sons in boxing. I can go on to Khabib with his father.
With his father.
And it kept the same theme. It's not just a coach, like you said. It's a sensei, a sifu. It's a mentor. Because it is a lifestyle. They have to have a vision. They have to have a methodology. And that emphasis, they focus on that emphasis. And sometimes the people, they see the finished product. They'll say like, oh, Khabib, he's good. But why is he good? How did it get to be that good? So that's a really, really good, important point to talk about. Now, let me ask you now. You got a lot of exciting things happening as a fighter. I'm excited for the new things that are going to come up with you. You deserve all of them because you've been in the game. You put the time, energy, and effort. I had my brother even come by one of the locations you train and take his fighters and everything. So I've been there. I've seen it. Nobody can tell me anything. What we expect for in the future, you as a professional fighter?
The future is the UFC, for sure. That's definitely like the goal in the next 1 year or less than a year. If everything goes well, I did a couple of switch on my camp and did a lot of changes in the past 6 months. As you guys already know, we're going through this coronavirus problem. Hit us a lot of people. So I had to do a lot of changes. I had to be able to open myself as an entrepreneur in a different mentality. Yes. And obviously continue chasing my own number one dream.
And you know what? Much respect to you, and you're going to make it there. You're going to get it there. I think you're well deserved. I really believe yourself and some of this young talent and people that are putting in the time are really right there knocking in the door and need and should have an opportunity in the UFC. We had just Danny Chavez.
Danny Chavez.
Got a perfect example. Man, what a great guy. I would go over there. Some of his fighters would be in our event. He conducted himself in a certain way. And in fact, Reach Combat, which is one of our management agencies that we work with, he took a boxing class from him. And these are these guys like yourself that deserve that opportunity, that I know they're going to deserve the opportunity and are going to do good and are going to represent the 305 and the martial arts and all the Latin America, Central America, and Caribbean. Much luck with that. Let me ask you a little bit, because we talked about the management. We also have part of our team, Dodge Sports. That Sports just finished having Anthony the Romero Genius, who have had the chance to train. Is actually in the Contender Series. He just had another fighter in the Contender Series. He has Andre Yu on the UFC, which will be fighting in, it's gonna come out, he's gonna be fighting in Fight Island. And so we have a lot of teams people that were coming together to help these people rise. So if you have any questions for us, for all these people, these guests, ask us. We wanna help everybody reach their goals. That's why we say where champions rise. We wanna help even our goals. Let me ask you, when you're training yourself, what is the thinking on training your physical and then training your technical and mental? For example, in the physical, do you believe in the long runs and the HIIT training? What do you believe in for yourself as a mixed martial arts in the physical training?
In the physical training, well, it all depends on what you're trying to achieve, number one. But if I had to focus on the physical part, I'm always gonna go the old school style, which is drill, hardcore drilling with every sport that we need to do at the moment. Yeah.
You know, it's funny, but the coach of TJ Dillashaw, Ludwig, who's now with Trevor Whitman, they were talking about that. A lot of their conditioning, aside from the running, everything else, a lot of condition is the drilling.
The drilling, yeah.
The drilling itself, which is funny. I've been in this a while, but I'm always learning, and the great thing is I get to learn from people in these shows that just the drilling you can get in shape, but hardcore drilling and you're getting in condition, but drilling the skills.
The skills, yeah.
Yeah. So you're combining that technical wise to help you to make that transition. I always say a little bit challenges the tradition from boxing to kickboxing, from kickboxing to grappling to MMA. You know, I remember when the boxing commission allowed ground and pound in the amateurs.
Oh.
A lot of the grapplers,
they were
what? Ground and pound, yeah. So what would you suggest that would help in that transition?
My number one, I always gonna go back to the old school, which is I tell all my students, even my fighters, is always be humble here. No matter what background you come with, you always have to be humble mental, meaning that you have to be open mind. If you're a boxer, you have to be an open mind for kickboxing. If you're a Muay Thai guy, you have to be open for boxing. If you're a wrestler, you have to be open for jiu-jitsu. So it's very important you have to be humble and open mind.
Yeah, that's, you know what? That's so great, you know, that they have that white belt mind or the beginning mind. Because I was seeing some of the fights, and for me, they were just turning into like a boxing match. Yeah. But what happened? All of a sudden, you see something that I've seen you do in your fights good, is the old-fashioned leg kicks. And now they're still doing the leg kicks to the calf. The Sugar Show, they caught him with a calf kick, his foot went, and he lost the fight. Because it's not,
they're not used to it.
They're not used to it, correct.
To it. That's not...
And then you have guys like Cormier. He's an incredible wrestler. He just fought, and I wanted to see more wrestling. He did a takedown in the first round. There was not more wrestling in the first round. I agree with you. I think you got to keep open-minded, because I believe that you got to technically go to where you need to go.
Yeah, obviously. You're always going to go back to your number one game. So if you're a striker, no matter whatever happened, you're always going to go back to the striking. But then again, when it comes to training, when you want to evolve in this game, you always have to have an open mind, because you want to be able to grow in every area. Like, that's why I always tell my fighters and my students, like, I always bring GSP, Justin Piera, as a sample. Like, to me, that's an idol. Yeah. That's a guy that knows how to mix it up, and he's very humble and very methodical in mindset.
Yeah. You know, you said something really important, because for me also, he's a martial artist. He brings a philosophy. He has the mind. And for me, with respect to everybody, he's the prototype mixed martial artist. I think he was the first one to prototype until to now, because they're talking about him fighting Khabib in October. And I'll tell you what, if there's somebody that can pull it off, it could be him.
It could be him,
because, like I said, he's the prototype of mixed martial arts, and he brings all these elements together. I want to give a personal shout out to all the coaches, all the teams. to all you guys that are leading really the 305 in South Florida and the leading edge of this combat sport, MMA, that is, it's been on for a while, but it's actually still new. I want to thank Dodge Sports, Reach Combat, our new partners, affiliate, American Top Team, North Miami Beach, Miami Media, everybody that makes it possible for us. Thank you so much. Like I say, you, me, we. Any shout outs to anybody that you would like to give out to anybody? Support.
Shout-outs. Basically, just follow me on Bélico MMA, Instagram. That's about it.
Yes, and I tell you, I think you should, because I think it's worthwhile. Like I told you, I've seen the Instagram and the posts on the philosophy. I see some of his training videos on tips and training, and I've been to his training, and like I said, I like it because it mixed it up. I see some of his fights, you know, like I said, he sometimes change up the fight in the middle of the fight with a leg kick or something like that. So I think it's worth it. Thank you so much for taking the time. I hope this has been to service, and if you and your family need anything, the 305 South Florida is here to help you out. I was asking you technical question. This could be the technique of the week about what I love is the leg kicks, and now they're using a lot the calf kick, and you did that in a fight, broke the guy's leg, and the fighter, is much respect and honor to him, is in the UFC right now.
He's in the UFC now.
So talk to me about that technology and that technique.
That technique actually comes, like I noticed for my understanding that I've been looking at it more, the background behind it, the story behind that leg kick. It actually is being created by different masters, but I noticed that in MMA, there's one particular people that they actually start doing it a while back. I would say like between 8, 10, maybe more years ago, which is the team that I'm in right now, which is MMA Master Caesar. But that kick actually, I was talking to him a while back about this, and that kick actually learning in karate. But the way that I learned in karate, it was more like a tap or like a sweep. It wasn't like a direct aggressive kick like a Muay Thai style. Like Muay Thai, they show you how to use the whole entire body, your waist and everything to one kick. And when you throw that kick, you throw it with everything you got. So it's kind of like a little combination of my karate background with the new Muay Thai that I learned, and I put it together to learn that kick, and that's what I did to that guy.
That's excellent. You know, and in our martial arts system, we believe in essence, evolution, and innovation. So innovative, I love that. And you mentioned some of the masters over American MMA masters. The name of the senseis over there?
That's Master Caesar and Master Daniel.
That's right. Much respect to them over there, MMA masters, because you just mentioned that. And Danny Chavez did some awesome leg kicks in his fight. Okay, Chavez, yeah. So and that came to mind when you said that. And I was talking with Sensei Barroso about, you know, he has a Yoshinkai background, and they have hellacious leg kicks, and how karate, Muay Thai and karate, or Muay Thai and karate came together, and they evolved that. Now, let me ask a question. Did you see he was open for that, or did you set it up?
Actually, I was training for it. Like I knew like this was gonna be my second or third fighter lefty, and it's hard because at the time that at my camp, a lot of my guys that had to switch lefty on purpose just to help me out to train for that fight, and I was setting up a lot of that low kick because I know he's a very heavy guy in the lead leg, and I knew that he was gonna do that in my fight because I like to study my fighter. I don't like to get like, how would I say, like focus on them too much, but I like to see like little details that they do wrong. And that's one thing that I noticed is like, I'm definitely doing this with this guy whenever he decides to pull his weight on the lead leg. And that's basically what happened in the fight. It played up the way that I thought about it in training.
Awesome. I'm glad you answered that, because one of the things we want to do with the podcast and the show is educate, communicate, entertain. And so the technical knowledge from people with experience is really, really great. I believe also in what you said. You don't like to focus on a particular fighter. Like I like to train the elements of fighting, not for the fighter because they might be a last minute replacement, but of course you did something smart. You study the fighters and you see the tendency and you study the film. Mike Tyson would not just study fighters' films of who's he's fighting, but even of the old school fighters.
Old school, yeah.
Yeah, so you bring together that scholarly warrior.
Right.
So thank you, that was a great tip. Any more tips or informations? You can contact at the social media.
Bélico MMA.
Okay? Anybody we have on the show, 305FIGHTSTV, you can contact Dade County, 305-305, donde surgen los campeones.